I think we need to change the name of your workshops, because workshop sounds like it's not fun. It doesn't sound entertaining. This is different. Elder Advisors, they do it different because they're the only one who does what they do. Larry Weiss is here. He is the president and the founder of Elder Advisors, and also Steve Langdon, who is the legal component that works with Elder Advisors. Okay, Larry, these workshops tonight, here we go. Good information, it's good news, and it'll be fun.
It is, and usually it's at the attorney's expense because it needs to be at the attorney's expense.
I'm not sure I like your outfit on TV.
Yeah, well, you know, this is more of a human nature phrase, comeuppance. You'll be getting your comeuppance tonight.
Oh, is that right?
Okay, right.
Okay.
Well, because, you know, Steve is that power attorney, you know, argues in federal and state court, both sides of the river, was in the prosecutor's office, flipped the switch in a couple death row cases.
I did not do that. No, I did
So
not.
he's got the juice, literally. And, you know, look, his favorite chair at the house is called Old Sparky. I'm saying too much.
Just saying
too much.
Just saying. No, actually, and you know this, we joke, we have fun, and that it'll be fun tonight, and you'll get good information. But Steve, you're not the stereotypical attorney. You're a guy who cares. And I know people say that, but you do. And Larry, you know it's true.
It is true, absolutely. Okay. Or yeah, absolutely.
I also like my tie better on TV than yours too.
Do you feel threatened as a man or a woman?
No, I'm just pointing it out. I thought it was interesting.
The tie contest.
John, I'm sure, wanted to kind of judge us, and I think mine looks better.
Okay, I'm gonna save my assessment here for a little bit later on, but I like both ties. Okay, Steve, the legal component is important. If you're moving mom or dad into a senior facility, the last thing you want to do is go broke in a nursing home, and it happens to the tune of, and I looked this up, you were right, $6,000 to $9,000 a month is average. Could be more.
Yep.
So with that being said, it's not a financial thing only, but it's also a emotional thing.
Right.
It's a big
I just
deal.
talked to a woman this morning before I came over to the show, and her grandmother had gone through hundreds of thousands of dollars working to, and she paid till the day she died, unfortunately in a long-term care facility, but she had privately paid the whole time and had run through hundreds of thousands of dollars, had essentially gone broke in the nursing home because they didn't realize that there were ways that you could preserve those assets. And that's really what we do. So not only do we take the pressure off your shoulders, let you breathe a little easier, give you some good news, but we can, what she said is we needed somebody to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, and put money in your pocket.
And that's what we do. We stop the bleeding and we put money in your pocket.
Okay, now, and I know a lot of this will be discussed in the workshop tonight. I encourage you to attend because the folks I know who have attended say it is really good information, and they were surprised because they thought, okay, this is something I've been putting off for a reason. I've been procrastinating, but don't, right?
Well, absolutely. And as Steve, our erstwhile legal eagle, elder law superstar attorney, elegant yet beautiful, and keynote speaker, has said, it is good news, Kentuckiana. It is good news. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. This is very emotional. It's a very stressful time for families, especially for the ones in the crisis planning where they're going through the $6,000 to $10,000 a month. But it is good news because for husband and wife, we can protect all of the assets. For a single person, about half the assets. And in almost every case to do that, I do need a legal component because I'm not an attorney. Steve Langdon is. And Steve brings that expertise to the table because it's not easy. At the workshop tonight and Wednesday for Indiana, I'm telling people, or I'll ask them, I said, do you think the states are inclined to approve you for benefit or deny you for benefit? And it's always deny. That's why you need your own rule book. And that's what Mr. Langdon, the attorney, brings to the table. So he develops these rule books for the family's benefit. So come out tonight, 6 o'clock at the Hilton Garden Inn, right off of Crittenden on I-65. And of course, Wednesday morning, this month only, Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. at the Hampton Inn in Clarksville on Broadway Street off Veterans Parkway, because it is good news. And at both workshops, I open up by asking the families 3 key questions. And I tell them, you don't have to be honest with me, but I think it's important you're honest with yourself. The first one is crisis planning. How many people have a loved one in nursing and going through $6,000 to $10,000 a month? Hands will go up. That's crisis planning. We can help. The second question is, how many people have loved one at rehab, getting some home health, which is kind of where my mother is right now, but doing a little better with the UTI.
Good.
We're coming around on that. How many people have that issue that if things don't work out in a certain way, we might have to look at long-term care in 3 to 6 months? Additional hands go up. That's pre-crisis planning. The third variable is how many people have simply been through this in the past or simply want to avoid it for themselves and protect their family? And hands go up. And that's pre-planning. In all 3 of those cases, we need Mr. Langdon to do that, which circles back to, I had a lady come in this morning at 9 o'clock this morning. And, you know, a lot of times people, they're in denial because, you know, mom and dad's got a couple $100,000 in the bank. We've got a little time. And maybe I agree with that to see how things settle out. But it's the families that have such minimal assets. They're the ones I'm really worried about because they don't have that luxury. So the daughter came in, mom's gone to count at Regions Bank, at SunTrust in Florida, and she thinks there's something at Wells Fargo. But there's, of course, no power of attorney. And I'm like, well, you need to get on that right now. And so, I refer her to the attorney, and it circles back to the attorney because that's one of the things that Steve really talks about at the workshop. You got to have it.
Let's talk about that. The importance of power of attorney. And I know you may be in the middle of a situation, but you need to have a few ducks in a row, and you can help with that.
Right. And that's really pre-crisis planning there, or even pre-planning, because the cornerstone of really any estate plan is that power of attorney. A financial, a healthcare. You got to be able to have the tools in your pocket so when the crisis hits, you can step in and take charge to make sure you preserve mom or dad's or your siblings, whoever it may be. You got to have the tools to be able to step in and preserve their assets. Otherwise, we got to go to court. We're dealing with guardianship. Gets much more expensive and time consuming. Plan ahead, and that's really what these workshops are all about. Planning ahead. Let's get ahead of the game. Let's get our ducks in a row so that when the crisis hits, and we all know at some point a crisis is going to hit, when it hits, we got the tools to step in and take control.
The legal component is certainly important, and I want to talk about this a little bit here and then in the next segment, but what other kind of layers do we need to, be educated about when it comes to moving mom or dad into a senior facility?
Well, I was talking about last week we were on the show, what I call the billfold in the pocketbook reference, because if we're in crisis planning or pre-crisis planning, and this is what I did with my own parents, was I had mom and dad, fortunately, they knew where things were, but I went ahead and got copies of their photo IDs, their health care card, their supplement card, their RX card, and when I go over there in 3 weeks, the final part will be their birth certificates and their marriage license, because those are all things that we need in a crisis plan. In a crisis plan, nobody knows where it is. No one in Southern Indiana knows where Steve Langdon's marriage license is. I'm not so sure he was legally married to Karen. She's a delightful lady. But until we find proof, Stephen, I'm not sure they were legally
I
married.
think Karen can find it.
From what I hear, it was out in a pasture with beautiful trees. But there's no paperwork authenticating it. Until then, I'm not so sure it really happened.
Just because you attended, there's got to be some kind of verification for that. Steve?
Well, the druid priest,
I was there.
the druid priest that came over from England does not count, Steve. That's a financial statement because I'm not trying to give you a legal statement.
But you say you were there, you say it happened, you say people celebrated, but they say U of L won the national championship in 2013.
That is very true.
And the NCAA said, no, it didn't happen. So,
well, the NCAA hadn't ruled on my marriage. So
oh, this is true.
Okay.
This is true. NCAA, stay away. He's happily married. Okay. So
is that a sports reference?
It was.
It's above
You picked up on it, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's above your pay grade.
But that was like for football for the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Okay. I don't think you ask about the boxing. Are you kidding me?
When it comes to sports, this is crisis planning right here. All right, we're gonna take a little bit of a break here,
sure.
and then we're gonna talk about other things that will be discussed at the
Just not
workshop
sports, please.
tonight and at the workshop Wednesday morning. We encourage you to attend. All COVID, it'll be nice and you have a lot of room. Everything will be comfortable, and it's good information. Elder Advisors, more with them next.